Alright, well, good morning from Hong Kong. Well, it's been kind of a busy day. Fixing some other boats, water problems, electrical problems, bilge float switches. And the morning is still young, but what time is it? Yeah, it's 8:23. I've already rescued 2 boats. Okay, here's what I've kind of got going. Is now, as my plan is, there's the wires for the solar panels. The wires are right there. But they're going to come around and they're going to come down into here. So I'm going to build the cabinet. There's going to be a cabinet here, and the controllers are going to be in a controlled atmosphere. It's not going to be down in the engine room where it's damp and it gets really hot and all that. I'm going to be able to keep them dry. I'll be able to get fans in here, keep it at a very good temperature. And that, so hopefully below 30 degrees C. But I'm going to build the box in here. But to build this box, I had a problem. We had rain yesterday. So in this hatch, there was no hatch. If you have been watching the videos from the start for this project, this just had like some little for sale sign that was kind of fiberglass taped over the top of it, or roped over the top. So I mean, it's open. So thing is, I can't put anything down here until I get a hatch on there. So I went and I've got the proper hardwood that we require, and I've got the marine ply, and I'm just using 1/2 inch marine ply for this. But what I've got is it's going to be the cover, and it's got the first coat, has the first coat of polyester urethane on it. I was hoping that I could put it on thick enough that I wouldn't need to, but the wood, the ply in itself, because I put the polyester fill, I kind of, to help sand it down and made it all nice. But that is on, and I need to let this dry before I can put on the hinges and the latch, and that will actually be rain tight then. So I can start to get my controller in, and then once I have the controller in, I run the 95, because I'm going with 2 95 square wires for the positive and the negative, and so that was just more than enough power than what I need. There's going to be zero resistance loss in those wires, because I've got 2% that's coming here. So down to the batteries from the controller, I mean the controller's going to have a little bit of resistance loss through heat. So I'm trying to keep it so, but the wires that are going to go down to the batteries, absolutely no loss. So I just have to wait for this to cure, and then because I did it last night, and then I just need to flip it over, do the inside, and now once the inside's cured, so hopefully she'll be ready on this weekend, and then I can start framing this in. And hopefully today, the other 4x8 sheet of ply comes, because this is all I've got left. Just got these 2 little pieces of ply left. I do have some framing wood, because that's going to frame out the box there. I should have no problem. But I did get another gadget here too. It's a Sea Watch by Shakespeare. It's a marine antenna, but TV and FM. But this is digital omnidirectional. So this will pick up all my digital local TV channels, and it'll pick up digital FM. And that's what one of my problem is because I'm at sea level, and there it is, that's sea level. But being here, it's sea level, and that's one of the things is to get FM radio stations, even AM radio stations. It's really hard because everything, if you look at the environment, I mean, you just got mountains. So the thing is, where they broadcast from, it goes over the top of me. So I need this omnidirectional, and it'll pick it up. So I think it's about 150 US. It comes with all the kit, but it's just for the boat. But it's the digital, and so it'll work with anything. It'll work with digital TV tuners, etc., etc., etc. But just wanted to make a little documentation here of what I'm doing to close up that hatch. So the hatch is getting there, and then once the hatch is done, get the power. So I have the power, I can kind of start going and doing the rest of it. So that's where I'm at. Yeah, I believe, yes, it is Friday morning. So I will add some more videos to this one, and I will keep you posted. All right, there, boys and girls. Be good, be safe, be well. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye. Good morning from Hong Kong. It is Monday, December 1st. Here we are. We've got a strong monsoon signal that's come up. Excuse me. And it is actually 1 month since I've started this project. So if you guys have watched that first video of what this old girl looked like when I first started, she definitely looks like she's got a pedicure. Alright, but the panels are in, everything's up. So okay, let's get back to the subject at hand. Now, the last video I made was this right here. So if you look there, as you can see, I've got a hatch, an actual hatch that keeps things dry. So now that it's in, I've kind of scratched up some of the paint and the polyester urethane. So once the sun comes back out, I'm going to sand it and give it one more final glossy coat. But now, let's go. I've started the foundation of this cabinet. I had the surveyor come over, and because I had a couple of questions. It's one thing, maybe, I don't know if the light will adjust here, but see this thing here? Now, I see it was red, so I've always had a question about this. Now, I followed the pipe, and the pipe went down into the bilge. But then I started looking at a few other things, because it just wasn't making sense. Because pretty much right directly, you drop a plumb bob straight down, below it, there's a seacock. Nothing's connected to it. And so what they've done is there was a manual bilge pump that's over here. What had happened is the O-ring, the diaphragm on the inside of it, it went. It just didn't work anymore. So what they've done is, instead of fixing it, because when you lift up the hatch, it's a manual bilge pump. You sit there, pump it. Below the deck here, there's a pipe that goes out, and it goes straight out the side of the boat. So what they've done is they've just taken some spring hose from this pump, which is a fire pump, and they've run it, and it goes straight into the bilge. So this is their emergency bilge pump, rather than a manual fire pump that sucks up seawater, and you can put that out. So I've hooked it back up. I've hooked it up. I've tested it. I get a lot of pressure, and that's a 3/4 inch pipe. But I'm going to take that out, and I'm going to put in a proper connector. And where this cabinet is I've got this little area that's going to be a shelf. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to buy a 10 meter, one of those flat wind-up hoses, 10 meters long. We'll keep that in there, and that's just for the fire backup. Again, I'm kind of anal about redundancy and stuff, but it's a manual fire pump. You just never know when you need it. So, but that's there. I've started the framework on this, and while doing that, there was fiberglass over the top of this area. Rather than putting in some Silcaflex and making it work good, they fiberglassed it, and they've got some brass plate here with some black brass nails, and I've got to replace some wood that's in here. Replace that in, that's not a problem to chisel it in. I've got a main beam that's here. And I'll replace that, and I'll clean this up, and that'll be good. But now, the cabinet is made. I've got, last night I put on a primer coat, the polyester primer. This is all 1 by 1. I've ripped, because I had a 2 inch by 1 inch teak board. I ripped it down to 1 inch by 1 inch. I got my teak ply and they use marine adhesive to it, but it's all veneered teak all the way through it. Every sheet of veneer is teak, but it uses the marine grade glue. Not that cheap. So anyway, but this is all on. I just got to fill in some holes here. and because I'm buying teak and it's really expensive, and as I plan things and as I, get things, I don't know, organized, then I buy the wood as needed. And so now I've already ordered that on Saturday, so I've got some wood going. But you'll love what I found here. I found that beauty. Now, found that at the shipyard. When I went to go buy that wood, because I go to the shipyard now, and I find it's much cheaper, because what they do is they buy an entire an entire tree. Then it's the lumber yard, or the mill, they cut it down into big planks, and then they'll cut them down for that as they need them to repair these wood boats. Well, this was in a pile that they ripped out because a customer went and wanted things modernized, and the one they actually put in IKEA furniture, your cabinets. Oh, I don't know, I'll never understand that. But it's 100% teak, but it fits. And this is how after I bought the wood, I made some changes to my order of what I needed, because when I found this, let's wedge it in, because again, doing all this, you need to drink a bunch of beer and sit down and kind of design it in your head, but you can see that it looks like it grew there. It kind of matches. It's a louvered door, kind of goes with what these things are. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to have 1 inch on the side, 1.5 inches at the top, and 1.5 inches on the side. Then I put in the teak ply, and the teak ply below that I've got my shelf for the hose and the torch and some other stuff in there, but I'll get access to it this side. And what I'm going to do is on the bottom of it, I'll put in 2 stainless steel pins with 2 receivers in the floor, and because I'll just scribe at the bottom, scribe to the curve of the deck, scribe in, so the bottom will just sit there. And at the top, it'll have one of those latches. There'll be 2 latches where it's actually, you have to press it in a little bit, and then it'll come out, and you lift the whole thing up and out, so you have total access to my charge controllers and dump loads and etc. So that's going to be there. So, but then again, as I said, I had the surveyor stop by, and the surveyor, because I wanted to know how I could cover this up. Yeah, because he happened to be at the shipyard the other day when I was there, and I said, come on over, I want to ask you a question. So, he came over, he said, it's low voltage, the wires are oversized for what they're doing, but to cover that up with wood, I need to be able to make it so up to this point and over to this point, it's removable. I have access to it, I can remove it, so I've got to get some kind of a cosmetic little cap on that wood, so it looks like I can actually move it and put it back. And then I'm up to modern day code from what the Marine Department says I should have for my low voltage from my panels. So again, that comes around, and I've got that, and then those will drop in. That's just my RCD from the genset, and operates my power tools. So. But the back is good. I've just got to plug them in, and I've kind of show you on these plugs, like when and the back. And I know you can see, like, I've got a plug here, I've got another plug area there. But what I've got is I just use these little wooden plugs. What you do is you get spare wood, and you take it on your drill press. Like these are spare, but what you do is you just drill into it, and then you take a little screwdriver and you just kind of snap them and they pop out. But I just make my own plugs. I bought the bit. I think it was like $2 or something like that. But anyway, that's how that works. So I have to plug that in and sand them down, and then I can varnish that. And then I'll be using the same plugs if I have anything exposed there. So, but that's all down to there. So I've got a good plan. I've got to get the teak wood today to finish framing this out, and then I can put on the final coat of polyester urethane, you know, because I just kind of boxed it in where I thought it would be. So that'll be a good place. So now, because I've moved along far enough, now I'm starting to plan out my gear. I've got my combiner box. Now I've made a new one. This is a brand new one I made the other day. So I've got my main 50 amp disconnect. I've got my surge protection, lightning protection. I've got 10 amp panel 1, 10 amp panel 2, 10 amp panel 3, 10 amp panel 4, and fifth one is open currently. I could put another one in there if I wanted. Then this will come over to my TriStar MPPT controller. And then, so then the output, I have the negative and the positive here on this diode. So I don't know if you can see this. If you look on the diode, and there's my diode. She's 200 amps, max 200 amps. I shouldn't need a heatsink in it because I don't think I'm going to have that much going through it. But what's going to happen is, because it's just a safety device that I use, and because everything I use off-grid is, I use DC inductive motors sometimes, and so what will happen is the negative, anything that would come back will feed back into here, into the positive line. That is just a safety device. I've got my A&L fuse. I'm going to put in a 60 amp A&L fuse to it, plus I have a disconnect that's rated at 250 amps, more than enough for a 60 amp controller. So I'm able to, from the main here, I can turn off the power from the load, which would be the batteries. We're down to the bus bar. I can totally isolate my controller, and I can take it out, put in something. It's totally isolated. Now, once my batteries are full, I do not want this to shut off. I don't want it to shut off. Every drop of sunshine that falls on those solar panels, I want that energy. I'm a greedy man when it comes to all that power that's falling on top of this boat. So I'm using a TS60 PWN, pulse width modulation unit. But instead of as a charge controller, I'm using it as a dump load controller. And again, I still have the output of this. Input out, whatever. I got the blocking diode. I have the blocking diode. I can't find my third one. I have no idea where my third one is. We'll get to that one. But now what happens is, now when the batteries are charged, this is going to go and it's going to feed a water heating element, 1,800 watt water heating element. And what it is you've got the bun that screws in. Well, it's like a three-phase water heating element. You've got one element that's 600 watts, another element that's at 600 watts, and a third element that's at 600 watts. So it's, 6, 12, 18, 1,800 watts on the one, and I just have them in parallel, and it works, and you screw it right in. Morningstar recommends that this should have 1,800 watt load that I can control, no less and no more. That's what it's rated for, and to maintain its operation, they suggest to do that, and so that's what I do. So that solar batteries are charged, let's start making hot water. Now, because that's going to be right here, so it's probably about maybe 1.5 meters, but right below this, right here this is on the inside, this is, you got your two engines, the two engines are right here. But there's a 150 liter water heater that I'm going to install there, and it's horizontal. And on each side, on the lower end, I've got 2 buns, so I can put in 2 elements. Plus, I also have a heat exchange coil that goes all the way around it. Now, I've had this made; it's all stainless steel, and for the boat. So that's going to go all the way through. So if I have the solar thermal out on the side when I make that, I can connect that, and then I'll make that as well. So I've got 2 water heating elements. So right now I've got the 1 being used. So now I'm going to have 2 wind turbines up at the top. They're 600 watts each, so that's 1,200 watts. So normally I have the 3-phase AC come out of the wind turbine, go to a brake switch that's in here. Then from the brake switch it goes down to the rectifier. Rectifier turns it into DC, and that connects right to my my bus bars. So I'm always charging, so they're always under load, 100%, always under load, unless they're, even when they're broke, when you break them, still under load, perfect. So, but now, once the batteries get full, so now this is going to cover up, this is going to handle 1,800 watts, even though I've got 1,200 watts right now. If I were to go put in another panel, another 300 watt, that's 1,500. So I'm protected. So that, if my batteries are full, this can handle what's coming into this. So I need a second one for my, for the input on my wind turbines. So again, I have the second 1,800 watt water heating element, and so my batteries are happy, they're safe, they're protected. Inductive motors, I've got the blocking diodes up to 200 amps. So okay, so now that's all in, that's how the system is working. Now, to get down from here, down to my battery bank, what I've got is I've got these posts. These are Blue Sea Systems. Blue Sea Systems, great marine kit. Just great. Well, they're great for anything. I mean, off-grid, where you get elements and you're out in the middle of nowhere. Blue Sea Systems, just fantastic stuff. BEP, Marine Co., they're all really good stuff. Jabsco even makes some really good pumps and stuff. But anyway, these are single posts. So one is negative and one is positive. So all of this, this will connect to this. This will connect to this. This output is using 4 AWG or 25 mm square. I don't know the distance to the water heater because I haven't installed it yet. So I'm not sure what size that's going to be. But I do know that the wires coming up from the bus bar that's down by the batteries, I'm going to take 2 95 mm square wires, which is 2 3/0, so it's like 3-0 AWG wire, or 95 mm square, 2 of them together, and they're going to go on that. So I mean, I'm going to be able to handle more than 500 amps if I would want, straight up to this. Then that's on the negative, and then I've got the 2 that's on the positive. So I connect that, and then down to the bus bar. It's 500 amp bus bar. Life is good. Very little loss. I've calculated my loss for these wires. I'm calculating my loss and making it an efficient system. So that's how that's going to work. And that's how I'm going to get that there. When I put the solar panels up on the flybridge, whenever that comes, I don't expect that to be until probably this coming spring, but I'll have a combiner box and an MPPT up there that'll handle that. And then the large wires will come down and they'll come to the bus bar. That's just how that'll work. So now I have how my power is going and how I have my protection, fusing and shutoffs, etc. But now I've got, I like monitoring. I want to monitor everything and make sure I'm efficient, find ways of, okay, this is the power I'm using, this is the power I'm making, how can I make it balanced? So I've got this, the meter hub, and what this is this just is a communication port. So on this top side, A and B, the MPPT controller goes into this. Then on this other one, I have the, it's the TriStar, the monitor. So I can monitor, I can see that, you know, just with these buttons, monitor the whole system, because on output 1, 2, 3, and 4, I will, like number 1 here, will go to this controller, or this dump load, and then this dump load that I still have to find, I can't find it, I know it's in a box down there. Then this one will go number 2, And then if I connect another solar array up on the flybridge hardtop that I have to build, that will go into number 3. So I'll be able to monitor everything from that. Plus, I'll be able to have this connect to my Wi-Fi network. I'll be able to see that through MS View on my computer. So I will know everything that's happening on that. Here I've got my remote temperature sensors and stuff. So I'm going to have, that's going to be there. Plus I've got 2 gadgets that are, somehow I've got to fit in here. And they're the morning, or it's called Watts View. They're Watts View. They're really, really cool. And so what I want to do is I want to put these Watts View in here so I can monitor how much, against what the Morningstar says. I'm going to get like a real world, and after all the resistance, it just, whatever current goes through it, because it's got small current transformer, and the wire goes through it, and that's how it reads, and then it has a small computer board, serial connector, straight to my computer. I change it over to USB, but anyway, so I'll be able to have my monitoring. And so pretty much that's where I stand. I'm really close. Today I'm going to finish up this cabinet. I'll get that, and hopefully if I can get the cabinet installed, the frame in, and get that done today, I'll be able to get the polyester urethane on, and maybe even this evening, because the weather, it's very dry out. So the 2-part, because you know you've got the polyester urethane paint, then you've got the hardener to it. So do a little, kind of make it a little bit extra hardener on it, so maybe it'll set off a little bit faster. And then I can start mounting this stuff and start wiring it up. Then once I have that mounted in, I've just got to call for the batteries, and the batteries can be here within 24 hours because they're still at the warehouse from the supplier. And again, they're all, what I'm using is just the lead acid batteries for right now, because I've got a lot of work to do. So I'm just going to have a couple banks of 6 volt. I think they're 235 amp hours each, and that for these 6 volts. So I'm just going to get 8 of them for right now. They do have 16. I've reserved 16, so I may just take and get the 4 banks and just put up the shelf and just have them down there. So then I got to worry about, because of that, for gassing and stuff, I've got to put in my fans and all that, get it timed and dusk to dawn and stuff like that. But that's where I stand 1 month from the start of this project, and I think I've come a long way. Definitely come a long way. It's looking good. She's shiny. Solar panels are up. But after we got that rain, you can see all the pollution in the air that the rain seems to wash down. So I'm going to wash the boat this morning. I'm going to wash this off. It's one thing, varnish needs to be washed. You got to use the proper soap so you don't dry out the varnish, so it kind of keeps it nice and happy. But that's what's going on, guys. 1 month to the day. All right, be good, be safe, be well. Bye-bye.